Hey guys, welcome back to the Linux Essentials series for hackers. In this video, I'm going to be talking about adding, managing users and groups, and then in the follow-up videos, we'll be talking about user security and sort of securing the authentication section or area of Linux. So let's get started. Now, I just want to give you a bit of a premise. I'm currently running currently logged in via SSH onto one of my Linux servers, and the reason being is as we move on into this series to the end or to the completion, I'll be covering security, various security aspects that we will require a lot of testing. So again, that's primarily the reason. So let's get started. Now, by default, you can see that I've created another user called admin, and I'm currently running Ubuntu server. So what's going to happen is it is recommended never to only be using the root user, and that you need to have another user in which you can then start, applying various permissions to. So by default on Ubuntu, when working with users, again, is a very, very simple syntax in regards to adding them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a user here. We're just going to say user add, and you can take a look at all the various options you can use when specifying a user. So if I just say user add and I hit enter, you can see it doesn't give me any prompt. But if I say user add Alexis and I hit enter, it will give me an error with the it'll give me an error with the lack of permissions. Now, I did this deliberately so that I can demonstrate how to use groups before we actually take a look at that. So I'll just switch into the root user here, and we'll go into my home directory, and we'll just say Visudo here. So we'll say Visudo, and what we want to do now is we have the user admin, but we want to actually have this user. We want to add this user admin into the sudo group, which will essentially allow members of the group to execute any command. Now, I can do that, or I can also add them to the admin group, which would be better. So again, we can sort of customize the various commands that we can specify, and I'll get to this in a second. So what we want to do now is I'll just exit, and I'll say user mod, and I'll say user mod ag add group, and then we say admin and the user admin, and we hit enter, and that's going to add the user admin into the group admin. So you specify the group first and then the user there. That might seem a bit confusing, but if I just say groups admin, you can see that it tells me that the user admin is in the group admin. All right, so if we go back into the user admin here, you can see it tells you to run a command as administrator, use user root, use the sudo command. So again, we now have permissions to do whatever we want. So if we go back here, we can say sudo user add, and again, that'll give us the same option. So if we say user add Alexis, it's going to add the user. Now, the problem with this, if I display the password file, you can see that the user Alexis by default will be given a home directory. That's perfectly fine, and the default shell will be set to the Bourne shell. So what I want to do is, let me show you how to remove a user. So to remove a user, we say user del, and then if we want to remove their home directory, we say r, or we use the recursive command, and then we specify the user. So we can say Alexis, and again, we need to use the sudo command here because we require root privileges. So it's going to remove the user. So if we just display the contents of the home directory, we can see that the only user directories we have are for the user admin. All right, so now that I've explained that, let me show you the correct syntax for adding a user here. So again, I can just say user add. Now, in regards to the actual commands you can use, you can take a look at the man pages. User add, and you can take a look at all of these options, and there's quite extensive options you can use in regards to creating user. But in our case, we want to say user add, and the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that this user has a home directory with its username appended. So we can say m, and then we can add a comment. So again, this can describe something about the account and what it's used for. We can just say Alexis, and we can then specify the shell. This is very important if you want the user account to use a custom shell. In our case, we'll just say bin bash, and then we specify the name of the user account or the username, and we hit enter. All right, so again, it tells us we need sudo privileges, so let's add that, and I'll just hit enter, and the user is added. Now this user doesn't have a password yet, so to add a password for a user, we can use the password command, all right? And again, it requires root privileges. So if I wanted to change the password for the admin account or for the current account that I'm using, I simply type in password and it'll say changing password for admin, and it'll ask me for my current password. I'll enter a new password here, and the password isn't changed. So I just wanted to demonstrate this. So again, I can just say, let me just change the password here, and I'll just change it to something different, and there we are. So the password for the admin user has been updated successfully. If I wanted to change the password for another user, I would say password Alexis, and I hit enter. So again, we can use the sudo privileges because we're now modifying sorry about this. Let's just add and there we are. So now we've added the password for the user Alexis. So I can directly switch into this user account, and I'll show you something interesting here. So I can say sudo Alexis, and I switch into it, and there we are. So now if I try and do something like sudo apt update here, it'll ask me for the user, for the password, and well, I think I entered the incorrect password here. So if I enter the correct password, you can see it's going to tell us that Alexis is not in the sudoers file. This incident will be reported. All right, so that's essentially telling us we don't have adequate permission. So if we go back into the admin account, we can now play around with the sudoers file. So again, we'll say sudo visudo, and we'll hit enter. And let's talk about now adding permissions, and before we actually take a look at groups. Right, so typically with Ubuntu, you can see that it gives you all of these various groups, right out of the bat, and you can specify specific user privileges under this right over here. So you can see for the root user, it can run it from all sessions, regardless of whether it's a TTY or a remote session. And then, for all users in all groups, and it can run all commands. So again, I can just say Alexis, and let's say all, or, I can just simply say all, sorry, that's all is going to be equal to all. And so that's pretty much all users. And then in regards to the command specification, which you specify here, so this user can actually run all permissions, or I can limit it to, certain permissions if I want to. Right now, again, this will pretty much this will pretty much allow me to actually run specific commands. So for example, if I wanted to only allow this user to say, for example, user bin apt get, for example, so what I'll do is I'll just save this file, and we'll go back into the user Alexis here, and we'll say, and then we say sudo apt get, and many of you might be catching on, and you'll see what happens here. So you can see that works now, and we're able to run only that command with root privileges. So we'll just wait for this to actually update the repositories. Let's try and run another command with root privileges, and I'll show you what will happen here. So again, my apologies, my internet is really not that quick, so we'll just wait for this to complete. And so there we are, got the repos, and I can pretty much install software, and I can use the apt-get utility. So if I say sudo, let's say vim etc ssh sshd config, if we open this, you can see we're not allowed to do this. So if we go back into the admin user, you can see now this is a great way of specifying permissions for users. So additionally, what I can do is I can use groups. Right now I have the user Alexis here, and let me just comment this. If I say all commands, that means it can run all commands here without any restrictions. So we then have groups. Right now, groups essentially allow users to allows you to group users based on their particular role or responsibilities. Now in this case, we have two groups. We have admin and sudo, and they essentially allow users to execute all commands with root privileges here. What we can do is we can create another group here. So we can just exit out of this. Well, actually no, we can just modify this one more time, because I want to actually comment this in regards to the permissions here. So we'll just exit, And let's talk about groups. All right, so let's talk about groups in Linux. Now, groups are a great way of sort of collectively applying permissions to, groups of users that, you may want to have, the same privileges or permissions. And, it's a great way of blanketing various permissions on different users, and a great way of course, segregating roles and duties within a system. So it's a great way of actually actively approaching the whole idea of segregation of roles and duties. So let's talk about creating groups, deleting groups, and of course working with permissions with groups. So we're going to follow the same scenario. We have the admin user, and of course we then have the user Alexis here. So the user Alexis currently is not part of any particular group. So again, it's a standard user account that doesn't have root privileges and is simply just allowed to operate within those constraints. Now, if I wanted to add a group here, I would say group add, right? And then I would specify the name of the group. So let's say we want to add the user Alexis to a group called developers. Right, so we're going to say group add developers. Let me just prepend this with sudo because we do need root privileges to create new groups, and we're going to hit enter. All right, so now we have the group created. So if we want to display groups for a particular user or the groups that a user is in, again, we use groups and then the name of the user. And it tells you that Alexis currently is in its own group. We can view all the groups on the system by visiting or catting or displaying the contents of the group file. If we hit enter, you can see that we have the various groups, and you can see we have all the system accounts as well. Pretty much they're going to be in their own group unless specified otherwise. So what we're going to do is we are going to add the user Alexis into this developers group, and then I'll show you how permissions can sort of be manipulated that way. So we're going to say user mod, and we're going to say we're going to append the user Alexis, and we're going to say the group. By the way, you can use a lowercase g here. The lowercase g primarily means you need to specify the group IDs. In our case, we'll just use the capital G because we know the names of head. So we'll say developers, and we want to add the user Alexis to the group developers. I believe we need root privileges for this, so I'm going to hit enter, and that should do it. All right, so now if I say groups Alexis, you can see that Alexis is going to be part of its own group and the developers group. Now, when we talk about having its own group, that simply refers to user specific privilege specification. So again, if we visit the Visudo utility to modify the sudoers file, you can see that we talked about user privilege specification, and we had actually added a some privilege specifications for the user Alexis, where we can access it from all hosts, and we had specified all users, however not all groups. So this essentially will restrict the user Alexis, and it'll essentially allow him to run the apt-get utility with root privileges here. However, that's one way of doing it. So if I use this same syntax, then I can also allow it to run all commands, and I can also specify the explicitly to refuse it to use the root to actually have sudo privileges. So it will only run this command, and so on and so forth. So I can do that actively if I wanted to. However, I don't want to. So what we'll do is let's just test this out to see that it works. And of course, you can change this to whatever command that will require root privileges. So we can just use apt-get here, and I'll save this. Now vsudo, when saving and exiting, if you do have a syntax error, it will tell you. So again, if we go here and we say let's actually mess around with the syntax here. So again, I can just say add a few commas there. You can see that it tells us in the etc sudo file there's a syntax error near line 21, and we can use the e command to edit it. So again, that's a great that's the great reason for using the vsudo utility. It actually points out logical and syntax errors. So we'll save this now, and we'll exit, and what we'll do is we'll now switch into the user Alexis, and I'll go here, and you can see that now if I type in apt-get update, you can see that we can run this command, but it still requires administrative privileges or root privileges. So if we prepend it with sudo, if we say sudo and we hit up and we just enter the password, you can see that we're able to run the command. However, if we wanted to display the we say cat etc shadow, cat etc shadow is going to tell you the user Alexis is not allowed to execute cat etc shadow with root privileges. So again, we can say cat etc password here. That works because it doesn't require root privileges, and we are pretty much allowed to view the contents of this file. All right, so that's how to apply permissions based on a user. All right, now I can also change this up, and we can use the example of the group here. So we can just go back into the user admin and just enter the password here, and again we'll say sudo visudo, and we'll get into this. So we'll comment this user privilege specification entry, and we can enter our group anywhere here. We can just add a comment if we wanted to. Specification developer group, we can just say developer group, and then we say when adding a group we prepend it with the modular sign, and then we specify the name of the group. So we say developers, and then after this we specify the permissions here. So again, we can say all hosts, and then we'll say all users of all groups. That's because we need a sudo. That's very important. We need the ability to access all the groups. So again, we can always limit it to all users and then the admin group if we wanted to. But again, we say all, and then instead of all commands, we say user bin. We can say apt user bin. User bin apt get update. Apt get. Not update. So we can save this, and if we exit, you can see we have no syntax errors. So again, back to Alexis here, and I will enter the password, and so now we can say sudo apt get update, and that works fine. For some reason not allowed to execute. Let me just check this right now. It's part of the developers group. Let me just go back into the admin group here, into the admin user, and let's see what the issue is. What's the issue is with the specification of permissions here. So what I'll do is let's see what can be. This shouldn't be causing any issues. Let's try apt, and let's just see whether this works. I'll just say apt update. That works fine. I believe you need to add you need to separate the commands, and it would be wise to use command aliases. So I simply forgot about that. Sorry about that, guys. So that will work fine. So again, if we say sudo cat etc shadow, for example, because we wanted to view it, you can see it again. It restricts us to running only the apt update utility, or running the apt utility here. So that is how to sort of segregate permissions based on a user, whether you want to specify the permissions on a user to user basis, or how to specify the permissions on a in regards to adding users to a group and then applying them that way, sort of blanketing the users that way. So again, it's all about what philosophy you adapt to, and if you're a system administrator, it'll also depend on the use case and the usage scenario in which your server is being deployed in. So again, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.